Viewers are invited to share where they're tuning in from and what time it is in their corner of the world, because this story plays out like a late-night thriller. And knowing whether you're hearing it over morning coffee or just before bed makes it even better. The whole thing starts with a bill and envelope from the water company that looks ordinary enough until Alex tears it open and nearly drops it right back on the counter. The number inside is absurd, over $1,200 for 1 month of water, more than some people's mortgage. His stomach sinks. His hands actually shake because he hasn't even been home for most of that month. He was off in Montana, fly fishing a trip where the only water he touched was a clear river and the occasional thermos of coffee. At home, no faucets turned, no toilets flushed, not even the drip irrigation connected, because his roses sip rainwater from a barrel. Historians still argue whether the first utility bill was meant to comfort or to terrify, but Alex knows this one is definitely the second category. He tries the rational path first. He calls the water company winds through a phone tree, so twisted it feels like a medieval maze, finally gets a polite but dismissive tech who explains to him without irony what a running toilet sounds like. Alex could design a citywide network of pipes blindfolded, but he swallows his pride and hangs up. Then a field worker named Dave shows up, wrench gleaming like Excalibur, and helps shut off the valve to check the meter. Not a drip. Dave shrugs and drives off, leaving Alex with official proof that his pipes are tight as a drum, which means water is disappearing somewhere between the city meter and his kitchen tap. He takes the problem to the HOA meeting, thinking maybe others have noticed something odd. Carol, the HOA president, listens with that look. Only professional busybodies seem to perfect half boredom, half disdain. She's got a golf cart, a clipboard, and a self-awarded title of Queen of the Cul-de-sac, and she slides a $200 fine across the table like it's a winning poker hand. Excessive water use, she says. Conservation rules, she says, as if Alex has been running a car wash out of his garage. He's stunned, humiliated in front of neighbors, then slapped with another fine after she spins the room against him, talking about magic disappearing water with a smirk. It stings, but the sting fades quickly into something colder resolve. That night, Alex sits at his drafting table, the same one where he once designed industrial plants and municipal systems, and writes at the top of a blank page, Project Nightingale. It feels dramatic, but it fits because whatever is happening here will require nocturnal patience. He knows the golden rule of engineering define the problem. Someone somewhere is stealing water, and he intends to prove it. And remember that crocodile dung sunscreen the Egyptians once used compared to Carol's smug rain? Even that primitive idea looks sensible. Alex may be retired, but his expertise hasn't retired with him. He isn't just fighting for a fair bill anymore. He's fighting for his dignity, and he's about to turn decades of knowledge into the sharpest weapon an old man can wield proof. From that night on, Alex becomes a nocturnal detective, charting every pulse of water as if it were a heartbeat he could read better than most doctors. Each morning and evening he photographs the water meter logs, the data, and keeps his own life bone dry just to be sure. The numbers keep climbing, and the clue that makes the hairs on his arms rise comes not from the meter, but from Carol's immaculate lawn. While his grass crunches underfoot in the August heat, hers stays lush, greener than an Irish postcard, with a smug little Lawn of the Month sign she planted herself. Historians still argue whether narcissism was discovered or invented, but in Carol's case, Alex figures she's perfected it. He digs deeper, literally, into old county records, shuffling through faded plats and easements, until he finds a dotted line, an agricultural spur meant to be decommissioned decades earlier, running right along their shared property line. He knows from long experience that supposed to be capped often means someone skipped a step. Suddenly it all clicks. If Carol found that forgotten spur, she could be siphoning water straight from his service line. That lush grass isn't a miracle. It's theft disguised as landscaping. But suspicion alone won't cut it. He needs the kind of evidence even Carol's cronies can't deny. So he stays up. At 2 a.m. with tea instead of bourbon, he sits in the dark living room like an owl in a cardigan. Night 1, nothing. Night 2, silence. Night 3 at exactly 3:14 a.m. Her sprinkler system hisses awake. 6 heads spray arcs of water across that green carpet, running for 90 minutes, while his meter spins like a slot machine. His pulse quickens, but he doesn't just rely on sight. He crouches by the spur line with an acoustic listening device, basically a stethoscope on steroids, pressing it to the soil. The faint hiss of water confirms what he already knows. It's his line, feeding her oasis. He grins in the dark, thinking that if engineering were theater, this was his curtain rise. Now comes the trap. He orders a high-precision digital flow meter, installs it in his garage, and connects it to a logger. The data will show every stolen gallon. But that's not enough. He needs spectacle. So he buys fluorescent dirhodamine WT, the kind hydrologists use for tracing groundwater. Invisible in daylight, glowing like neon under a UV lamp. It's harmless, biodegradable, but undeniably dramatic. He even tests it in a bucket in his garage, laughing when it lights up like a nightclub under his flashlight. He knows the reveal has to be public, undeniable, and devastating. Enter Ben Carter, a property dispute lawyer with the grin of a man who loves a good ambush. Ben reviews the binder of logs, videos of sprinklers, photos of lawns, and whistles low. This isn't just evidence, he says this is theater. They draft a civil complaint, and then Ben hatches the perfect stage, the annual HOA picnic held, you guessed it, on Carol's prize-winning lawn. Alex doesn't just want to win. He wants her empire to collapse under the weight of its own lies. And with a touch of fluorescent truth, it will. The night before the picnic feels like the eve of a small war. Quiet, yet charged. Jasmine drifting on the air as Alex prepares the dye rig one last time. At 2:45 a.m., he slips outside in dark clothes, shuts off his home's main valve, and pumps his pressure cylinder full of the glowing tracer. When Carol's sprinklers clatter awake at exactly 3:14, he opens the valve, sending a rush of fluorescent truth straight into her irrigation system. The meter spins, the recorder hums, and Alex knows her lawn is now coated with invisible evidence. He makes coffee and waits for dawn, calm as a man who's already won. By evening, the yard is filled with laughter, hot dogs, and Carol herself, wine cup in hand, basking in her kingdom. She spots Alex and mocks him about his leaky pipes, but he only smiles the way a chess player smiles before checkmate. As twilight settles, she bangs a spoon on her glass, launches into her annual State of the HOA speech, bragging about pride and rules and how lawns don't stay green by magic. Alex steps forward, binder heavy in his blazer pocket, UV flashlight hidden like a magician's wand. "Carol, you're right," he says calmly. "Your lawn doesn't glow by magic either. Let's show everyone." With a nod to Frank, the patio lights click off. Darkness swallows the yard. Then Alex flicks on the UV beam. Instantly, Carol's emerald grass explodes into neon pink orange, every blade glowing like fireflies caught in a storm. Neighbors gasp. Kids squeal. Someone drops a plate. He sweeps the light across the lawn, then down to Carol's tennis shoes glowing bright as radioactive marshmallows. Her smugness drains in an instant. "What did you do?" she stammers, but Alex's voice is cold steel. "I did nothing, Carol. You tapped into my line." Lights flick back on. Lawn looks innocent again, but the image is burned into everyone's minds. Then he produces the binder logs, videos, finds the lawsuit itself, slamming it shut with a finality that makes the whole crowd flinch. Within days, city crews dig up the illegal valve-slap Carol with 5-figure fines and back Alex's case. The settlement bleeds her dry repayment for stolen water, bogus fines, reversed legal fees, and punitive damages. She sells her house within a month, exiled from the neighborhood she once ruled. The HOA elects new leadership, rules soften, and neighbors actually start smiling at each other again. Alex finds peace at last, his garden thriving under honest rainwater, his porch the quiet sanctuary he wanted all along. Historians still argue whether justice is best served hot or cold, but Alex proves it can also glow under ultraviolet light. The story winds down slowly, like the quiet after a storm when the air feels washed clean. Alex reflects that he never sought revenge. He just wanted fairness, a correct bill, a little peace. But when forced, he discovered that truth, gathered carefully, logged patiently, and revealed at the perfect moment, has the power to dismantle arrogance more effectively than shouting ever could. His neighborhood breathes easier, his evenings return to books and roses, and the battle becomes a tale he can recount without bitterness, only with the calm satisfaction of a man who stood up and outthought a tyrant. So, the glow fades. The porch light hums, and Alex finally lets himself relax. His fight is over. The balance restored, and the only sound now is the soft trickle of water in his rain barrel, his water flowing where it belongs. The listener can take a breath too, let the tension melt away, and know that even the pettiest tyrant can't outlast patience, proof, and a steady hand. Somewhere far off, a sprinkler ticks in the night, but here it's quiet. Justice has been done, and the glow has gone out.